evening. And I want to say thank you for joining us here. I hope you had a great Easter. I hope that your holiday was fabulous. But now we're getting down and talking about business. I want to thank you for joining us today right here on Equal Hope on CAN TV. I'm Dana Wint, your community engagement specialist at Equal Hope. What is Equal Hope? Well, let me tell you. Equal Hope is a nonprofit organization with a mission to eliminate health disparities in Illinois, because that is the state we're in. We do this by offering free services, free cervical screenings, free mammograms, and assistance with your primary care appointments. We'll help you with a vaccine, HPV, COVID shots, flu vaccines, getting you to a medical home. And all you need to do is give us a call if you need some support. 312-942-3368. I say it all the time, and I just went blank just right there. 312-942-3368. Or you can visit equalhope.org. We have a Latina navigation team waiting to assist you. We've taken all of the excuses out the way. Don't deny, verify. Early detection saves lives. We're going to be talking about that. I want to remind you that we're having our big Celebrating Life benefit June 5th. At the Venue West. And if you really want to be in the house, we would love to have you there to support us. You can go to equalhope.org and grab a ticket. We'd love to see you there. You can find out more of the amazing services that we offer and meet some of the great people that we have serviced, and so you can find out more. I want to introduce this month's guest, a good friend of mine, Jojo Harris. She's the Senior Vice President of Human Resources at the Jacobson Group. And I want to thank you, Jojo, for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and you're doing a lot of things, but we're going to save some lives here tonight, Jojo.
Great.
So we're going to get started. Jojo, tell them a little bit about you.
Well, I hail from northeast Pennsylvania in a little town called Wilkes-Barre. But I've been here in Chicago for a little over 30 years. I have a wonderful family here, 5 children and 4 grandchildren that are just really the loves of my lives. A lot of great friends here and really have made Chicago my home. I love it here.
All right. I like that so much. And I go out to Pennsylvania a lot because my in-laws are there. So I'm glad to know that we have some more...
family there.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing you didn't mention, which I do know about you, and they may have figured it out by now, that you are a breast cancer survivor.
Yes, I am.
And it's always good to know that you don't always look like what you've been through.
That's right.
But let's talk about that.
Great.
Let's talk about the initial diagnosis and how did you find out?
Oh, gosh.
What? I know you remember the day. You somehow remember that day.
I do. You always remember the day. It was actually Valentine's Day 10 years ago. I should say, 10 years ago, actually. And I remember prior to being diagnosed, I would feel a tiny little lump on my breast. It actually felt like a Skittle. And I know it sounds crazy, but breast cancer, I didn't even think about it. And I would say to my friends and my husband at the time, feel that. Doesn't that feel strange? It's like a little Skittle. And I think I went to the doctor and they said, we'll follow up in 6 months. And I thought, when they told me that, I was like, there's no way I'm following up in 6 months. And this is what I'm thinking. You're lucky I got in here the first time because I'm so busy, we've got these kids, this life we're taking care of, this work, etc. And so I had zero intention to return. So in 6 months, however, I don't know, the Lord must have got me there in the hospital. They tested it and they called me and said, we're so sorry, you have breast cancer. And now I think back, like, what was I thinking? I had this lump,
So when you were showing people this, that they were saying, what? Oh, look at this. Oh, what?
Yeah, you should get that checked out. You should get that checked out. And I was like, okay, I will. And I remember.
How long did you do that?
Oh, gosh, probably a couple months. And in all fairness.
That's not too bad. If you said a couple years.
No, a couple months. And in all fairness, and for women viewers out there, and I have lumpy breasts. I've always had lumpy breasts anyways. So I just thought, it's probably just another lump. Because I think several of us have
Yeah, a lot.
Lumpy breast,
absolutely.
right.
A dense breast, lumpy breast.
That's right. That's right.
Different categories.
That's right.
Okay, so you were like, and so you made an appointment specifically for.
Yes, for a follow-up, because I thought something looked funny. So I did the follow-up, and they called me. I was at work, and they called me on the phone and said, you have breast cancer. And I remember that moment so clearly at the time, because I hung up the phone, and I said, rats.
That's what you said?
That's what I said. I said, rats. And then I was like, okay, it's on and popping. Let's go about this. Let's get going. Up and moving, and then it was nothing but treatment after that.
Okay, so you got the call.
Got the call.
And you went in to see your OBGYN or whoever how soon did you get in for that? How long did it take for you to start your treatment process?
Oh, it was soon. I would probably say maybe a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, and I got the premium package of treatment.
Which means, explain that.
I got a lumpectomy. I also got chemotherapy, and I also went through radiation. So it was about 6 months worth of treatment, if you will.
Whew. Okay. So, I know that when you hear those words, you have cancer. Like, I remember the rush, the hot that went from my head to my toe. And then you figure it all out, and then you have to make a lot of decisions. Did you feel like that part was overwhelming? Quickly, and you got to make them fast.
The decisions are...
Yeah, the decisions.
No, I did not feel as though they were overwhelming. And I'll tell you what I think cancer is, whether it's cancer or another health issue or just a trouble that you have in your life, but I'll speak to cancer. The biggest thing with cancer is fear. At least for me it was. And you can let your mind run wild with fear, right? Because I feel like that will drive a lot of your emotions. But I did not want to be fearful of my future and what was going to happen. And so I approached it knowing God was going to heal me for this. I never thought, oh, this is going to kill me, I'm going to die. Sometimes those thoughts will come over you. But I never thought, I thought, I'm not going to die from this. God's going to heal me. And he did.
That was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
Okay. So what stage were you in?
Stage 1.
Okay, so that's good.
That was good. That's great.
That's good.
Yes.
And that's why I am such an advocate for early detection and going to the doctor. Because there's a different feeling when somebody says you're stage 1 versus stage 4.
That's right.
And there's a different protocol in your treatment.
That's right.
In the different stages. So, again, the number one reason why you go to the doctor is because an early stage is better.
It's absolutely better. And here is what I would say getting your cancer staged. That's, let's say, not stage 4. And the blessing in that is you are a candidate for healing. You're a candidate for treatment for your cancer, which is amazing, which is a blessing, because not everyone is a candidate for treatment, right? So one of the things, and we kind of talked about this before, that I felt was so important is really, as you go through struggles and difficulties, you really have to find the blessing in your situation. Because in any situation, whether it's cancer, a cancer diagnosis, or trouble with your job or your finances, I think the Lord will give you blessings in every moment of your life. You just have to look for them. And sometimes they're hard to see. Sometimes you can't see them. And so that's where I say, hey, sometimes you have to phone a friend to find those blessings. But there's blessings in everything that we go through. And I think it's just really important to keep that in front of mind as you go through a cancer journey and a cancer battle.
Are you currently on any long-term hormone treatments?
No!
No.
I was on tamoxifen for 10 years, and October 31st of 2024 was my last day to take them, thank God.
So, but you still keep up with your oncology team? You go every 6 months?
Yeah, I am not on a 6-month regimen anymore.
Every year?
Every year.
Good news.
Great news. Great news.
So you had good care.
I had excellent care.
You had good insurance.
Thank God, yes. I had fantastic insurance. And that was another thing. When I remember I was in there and somebody's complaining, you have to fill out all of this stuff. And I was thinking, why are you complaining? If you have to do all this work for your insurance papers, it means you have insurance, which is a blessing as you go through, this cancer journey.
Definitely a good way to look at it. If you are filling out some paperwork for insurance, that means you have insurance. Very good.
That's right.
And so when you heard that you were cancer-free, did you ring the bell?
I rang the bell. My girlfriend, Sabrina, recently rang a bell, and it brought tears to my eyes. Because I remember what I'll call the pound of flesh that journey exacts from you, and she's done and it's over. And so I'm happy for her and excited for her recovery too.
Mm-hmm. So how many rounds of chemo did you go through?
5.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So I did 16 rounds. And I do remember somewhere around the 8th week, and you go every week. So this is 4 months of treatment, that you start looking at the light at the end of the tunnel and you keep thinking, okay, now it's 7, 6 more.
That's right.
5 more. 4 more.
That's right.
And you start really counting it down.
Yeah. Although everybody's treatment's different, because I would go for a treatment once every 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? And so you kind of go for a treatment and then you're sick for a week, at least in my experience. Mm-hmm. And then you start to feel better for 2 weeks, and then boom, you go again.
Right, you're right. Well, because I went weekly, I called it day 4. You're exactly right. The first day you're fine. The second day, not too bad. Third day you're going down. Fourth day, boom. Ooh. Fifth day, 6th day coming back. 7th day you fine. You get hit again. Boom, you're back at 1. I understand it. And I don't. It was part of my regimen, chemotherapy, and I know for some, when they hear that word, it's just the scariest, worstest thing in the world. How did you do with the chemotherapy?
The chemo was the hardest part of treatment, just because your body is, it's so hard on your body, right? Because it's killing good cells and bad cells, and, you lose your hair, and, but I as usual, I said, okay, what's the blessing in going bald? And what is the blessing in chemo and what it's doing to my body? And I was just all of these things I'm feeling, the infections, right? And you're achy, and you get pins and needles. And I said, okay, I'm not going to get upset about that, because all this is evidence that this medicine is working in my body. And so I said, oh, yep. Here are these things that are happening to my body. They don't feel good, but it is healing me. And so I approached each recovery session in that way, and I feel like it really helps, because you really have to take control of your thoughts, right, as you go through this process.
So absolutely correct. It's a mindset, and your mind can convince itself of anything.
That's right.
So, okay, so what were the strategies? I mean, you're saying, that you had strategies, you were able to calm your anxiety, but what can you help somebody who maybe is going through right now and coping with anxiety or fear during and after treatment? Because you're pretty positive. So help us.
Okay, so, and I would say these are just the things that worked for me.
Right.
Okay. So I would take a marker or a lipstick, and I would make mirror messages, I call them. And so in the morning I would wake up and I would write on my mirror, today is going to be a great day. I would speak it. Mm-hmm. Today I'm going to feel amazing. I'm going to get a lot of love today. So any of the, any negative thought I had, I would try and speak to it in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So that helped me. Writing little messages, and really it was scripture, on notepads or on Post-it notes, and sticking them around. And the reason why I would do that, because let's say I'm not in the mirror it's the middle of the day, you can forget how you can forget the goodness of the Lord when you're going through a very hard time. And so to help me remember, because I needed help to remember, I would read my little stickies. I'd post a sticky note. And then I would also, you just have to speak to your emotions, speak to your mind, speak to your situation, because words have power. They make a difference. So that was one of my strategies. Also, I also have to give credit. So my church, Bright Star Church, Chicago, they were amazing. So many people loved on me and gave me hope and encouragement, and even the smallest of messages for people that are supporting individuals that are going through cancer, like, hey, I'm thinking of you. It helps lift your spirit. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I cannot believe how much love I feel going through this process. I would have never felt so appreciated and loved by folks as those months went on. And so that, I think, was also a strategy. And of course, my family was I was going to say absolutely amazing.
Who helped you along your journey? Well, you said your church.
My church, sure,
that's a lot of people, probably.
That's a lot of people, and even I would say some people I didn't know. I'd go out and they said, "Oh, I'm praying for you. I see you
at the grocery store."
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh my goodness, thank you." But my family, so my husband at the time, amazing supporter as I went through this journey. My children, they were younger, but the beautiful thing about them, I think, and because they were younger, is they didn't really know so much. I think they knew I was sick, but they still needed me. And that helped me get through. Absolutely. Right? Because, hey, these kids
they
need support. Right. So you can focus on others and not necessarily on the situation. My family from the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton area, my dad, my stepmom, my sister, my brothers, and of course I have a really amazing group of friends here in Chicago and also on the East Coast, and everybody just loved on me. I could not help but feel their love, and it really encouraged me and helped get me through.
I like it. Okay, so you got through it. You had strategies. You were able to encourage yourself. And now you're post. You're out. You're in remission. Are there any lifestyle changes? Any habits post-diagnosis that you have changed? Lifestyle, anything like that you don't do anymore, that you've picked up anything?
Oh gosh, maybe instead of what I stopped doing, maybe a couple things that I started to do, which is really being intentional about loving on people and being like telling people, hey, I love you, or you're fantastic, or this is great, or any kind words I think are important to share. Also, continue to see the blessing in every situation, even the bad ones, because we can feel like a victim, when things aren't going our way, and we come through tough times. It's easy to feel sorry for ourselves and focus on what's not working or what we don't want, but you want to really be intentional about focusing on the good things, and so that has really helped me post-cancer. Sorry.
No. Food or anything like that? Any food changes? Any dietary? Nothing?
Why do you go there? Why are you asking me that? My food, my diet. I would say no, although I think because of age, I'm trying to eat more whole foods. But in terms of, you're really shifting from a nutritional standpoint, I'm sorry to tell you no.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you probably had a healthy lifestyle, and
Yes.
So okay.
But I will say I exercise a lot more now than I did over the past 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lifestyle change.
That's a lifestyle change. We'll take that.
And it's definitely on the list of changes for like keeping your cancer free.
That's right. That's right. Because they find that exercising does stave off cancer. So
right. And I remember, and I think when I was asking you about your chemotherapy, I remember at the beginning of the journey, I saw a woman say that I worked out the whole time. And so I really tried to work out the whole time. And so while chemo wasn't a picnic, I think I made a point of really trying to sweat it out, and drinking lots of water, urinating out and sweating it out so that I could get the poison out. But we're talking about you today.
But we love to hear your story.
So are there any moments, are there any people that you're particularly grateful for that were there during or after your journey?
Oh, gosh. I think there's probably too many to name, honestly.
Okay. And then you'll make somebody mad. So,
but I would say my family, my friends, my church, and my colleagues. And some of the moments that particularly stand out to me is when I can help someone else go through their cancer journey, because I'll have folks, I'll get a call and say, hey, my sister's going through cancer. Do you think you can talk to her? Absolutely. And, so I share my experience and some of the strategies and follow up with them and let them know, hey, you're not alone in this, because no one wants to go through this journey alone, and no one really has to.
Okay, so a survivor is watching right now, and we can see that Jojo is very positive. And she has the mind of the correct mindset, because it is a mindset. You kind of have to go into it with the right mindset. Somebody's watching right now. What would you stress about the new routine in their lives for the first few weeks? I mean, they're just getting home today. They're watching, and the new routine. Besides writing lipstick, writing in the mirrors, which I think is very good, actually.
I would say you can face this. You pull on your faith, let friends and family love on you, and you find the blessings in your everyday, and you speak to your situation. You call out the life and the day and the moments that you want to live.
So, are you writing a book?
I'm not writing a book.
Not yet?
Not yet.
And so, are there any major plans? I mean, have you shifted on what you are intentional about in the future as far as like goals and anything like that? Or are you on the same path, kind of?
On the same path that I was historically?
Well, I mean, do you have like a new frontier you're running towards?
I would say I'm now discovering a new frontier that I'm running to. So I'm not quite sure. Although I have to tell you, you're probably the 6th person that asked if I was going to write a book. So
you never know.
You never know.
It sounds like it could become. I support it. When you get the book, you come on back and talk to us about the book.
Okay.
And in a few words, because this show goes so fast. What are you going to say, Jojo? I mean, you have been a light right now, and I'm sure somebody, if they were just a little down and they were in this journey, should feel a little more positive after watching Jojo right now. But give us a takeaway message for somebody at home regarding cancer, it coming back, in general, breast cancer, any cancer. What would help them?
I would first say God is greater than cancer. Hands down. No doubt about it, God is greater than cancer. In terms of fear, the Bible will say, take captive every negative thought. And the Lord did not give you a spirit of fear. And so if you're fearing, that's all in your head, because God does not give us a spirit of fear. And so
you replace it with?
You replace that with praise for the Lord, thankfulness for your healing that's coming, trust and believe that He is going to bring you through this. And then I also say, if you're, when you're not sure and your head is spinning, I would say stop and look around and say, let me tell you what I'm thankful for, what I'm grateful for, where my blessings are. It's this, it's that, it's him, it's her. And hopefully that'll give you enough to get through let's say this fear crisis you might be going through because your mind starts to go, right? And so I would say, make sure you are do your best to take control of your thoughts.
Yeah, your thoughts. I mean, and I hear you, you have a relationship with a Christian relationship, and I as well. And for me, I really couldn't imagine going through that time without that type of rocket. But everybody
doesn't have that faith.
That faith. And what do you say to them?
So for those that, let's say, don't have a faith, I still think you can look around and say, let me pull out and glean the wonderful things in my life, what they are, right? So it may be I have wonderful friends that I like to share my time with. I have a fantastic and beautiful dog that I have a great relationship with. I have a wonderful job that I feel like as though I'm contributing to the betterment of the world. Whatever it may be, without looking at the source of it, I feel, I hope everyone can still see what the universe is providing to them at that point.
Mic drop. That's about wraps it up for us. I'd like to just, again, thank you for taking time out and stopping by. And like I said, you certainly don't look like what you've been through. I want to remind you all, if you need a free mammogram, a free cervical screening, if you have been watching and you've had a little skittle feeling, and you said to yourself, oh, wow, I had the same thing. If you need a primary care appointment, like I said, free mammogram, free cervical screening, a free primary care appointment, Equal Hope is an organization that can support you today. 312-942-3368 or visit equalhope.org. And don't forget, we have our Celebrating Life benefit on Thursday, June 5th at Venue West, and you can still get to the event at equalhope.org. You can stop by and grab a ticket and come on out and find out more about the amazing work we do in the community, which is really important. I think that's what I like the most, is that we're very community oriented, and if you need some help, give us a call. Jojo, again, thanks so much. Thank you, and you. And we will be back next month talking about survivorship. Until then, may the rest of this day be the best of this day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.